Hello, I'm Chrissy.
And I'm Caroline, and we're interior designers. More and more people are asking us about what we do and how we do it.
Which brings us to our new design adventure, the Design Duet. Join us as we discuss the ins and outs and the ups and downs of interior design.
Hi, today we are interviewing Andrew Mitchell, a well-known interior designer and design coach. We have always found him to be inclusive in all of his courses, a true professional in his field, a very authentic person who focuses on bringing people together in team building with a strong focus on well-being and balance. We think this is great listening for anyone who is running an interior design business and anyone starting in the industry. Well, good to see you, Andrew. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Wonderful to be here.
Yeah, thank you. And I just wanted to ask you, because we're going to talk so much about your coaching business, I just thought I'd like to hear a little bit about yourself and how you got into interior design.
This is fun because I don't really talk about this very much. Transports me back to the 1990s when a lot of your listeners would still have been at school probably. But yeah, I didn't do any formal qualifications, so I didn't study. So I'm quite open about that when I'm talking at my coaching gigs, and I wouldn't say I'm proud of it because I think it's not the best way to get in the industry, but I'm certainly not shy about sharing that because there's other people who do exactly the same thing to get into the industry. So it started with people telling me that I was good at interior design. So in the 90s, renovated a house. It was featured in Bell. And I managed to hustle my way into a little interior decorating shop called Interiors for You, doing 2 days a week free, which I always recommend to students when they approach me. It's
Absolutely.
like, how do we get into the industry? And that 2 days became 3 days, became 5 days, paid. So just sort of edged my way in there. And I learned so much from the beautiful Leslie about measuring for windows, about working with beautiful fabrics, dealing with clients. And that really was the foundation of sort of, I was off running with, loved it. It was just
fantastic.
Taking something that I felt like I had a slight interest in to becoming really clear that that's what I wanted to do.
So good place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So what would you say your signature style is, Andrew?
Well, I think I would prefer to sort of approach each individual project through the lens of the client. So if you look at my portfolio on my website, almost every project is really different. So everything from residential to commercial hospitality. But I think there's an overarching sort of classic contemporary feel.
Yeah.
And I definitely love to hero, as you guys do, local designers. So people like Zuster, the guys at Tate, there's Articolo, beautiful, amazing Melbourne designers. I like to get into my work as much as possible. And I think that sort of tends to be a common thread through most of my work.
We're so lucky to have them, aren't we?
We sure are.
Yes.
And they're so talented.
Yeah.
And their materials are next level.
Yeah.
If only more use them.
Yeah.
And I think Melbourne is probably even more so than anywhere in Australia. I think we've just got a really high concentration of incredible design talent.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agree. You're so busy with your design coach. Are you still doing many interior design jobs?
Absolutely am. I try not to, even though I do use the word busy often, I try not to use the word busy because it sort of feels like you're not in control of how much you're taking on board. So I like to say I've got a full life that I've fully engineered to be that way. And it's times, especially juggling the coaching business with the interior design business, it can feel a little bit overwhelming at certain times. But I just remind myself I've engineered all of this. So I've made these choices. I'm jumping on planes and flying to the other side of the world, and I'm hosting programs and coaching, groups of interior designers and then managing the workload of interior design on top of that. This year has been a weird year, I think, for a lot of designers that I coach. Been a weird year for me as well. Like there was some big projects that got put on hold because of financial situations. just with the state of the economy.
Mm.
But yeah, there's some exciting stuff in the pipeline for next year.
Oh, how awesome. So in 2018, you started the Design Coach. How did this come about? And what is your role actually in that?
Well, I had a little bit of burnout in about 2016. And there was a combination of things. There was some work things, but also there was a lot going on personally. I lost a really close friend to cancer, pancreatic cancer, and that sort of rocked me a little bit. So decided to step away from the business for a little while. I went away overseas for 3 months, which was fabulous, to Italy. And when I got back, I wasn't 100% sure exactly whether I wanted to recommence my business. So I went and did a couple of things. Firstly, I taught at Mercer, which I was, with Caroline and also Melissa Boltzan.
Yep.
And I know that you talked about that with her earlier. And at the same time, I was doing a little bit of mentoring and coaching at it's like a design practice that is more like an agency for interior designers. And they had about 90 designers around Australia who I was helping to mentor. And at that point, I realized, firstly, how much I loved doing that. I loved helping people. But secondly, I realized how much knowledge and experience I had to share with people. And that really was the foundation for deciding there's a need in the market for people to share their knowledge. Because I don't know about you guys, but I felt when I was through the majority of my professional career, I felt like there was a bit of secrecy in the industry. People hold things really close and don't tend to share the intricate details about how they work, how they charge, all of that sort of thing. So you just sort of feel that you're a silo and you're on your own.
Yes.
And I wanted to break down some of those walls. So yeah, I started doing one-on-one coaching in 2018. And that sort of just progressed. It just took on a life of its own, became group coaching. It became during the pandemic. That was a huge pivotal period. So had to go online. And then that meant that the business just grew from being face-to-face to being more than just Melbourne. It went to all around Australia. It's now in New Zealand. It's all in Asia. I've got members all around the world. So
incredible.
Just can reach a lot more people.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Fantastic. You deserve it.
You absolutely do.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Thank you.
What are the credentials to be a business coach, and do you have any?
No, I don't actually. So I think that, there are formal courses and qualifications that you can have for business coaching. And again, don't recommend that people don't go down that path. I think for me, my credentials are that I've run an interior designer business for over 23 years. I have made every mistake under the sun. So whatever people feel, whatever mistakes they feel that they've made, I've made the same mistakes. I've probably made worse mistakes. But the thing that I do really well is that I learn from those mistakes.
Yeah.
And so I don't make the same mistakes over and over again. So all of those learnings and lessons that I've had throughout the course of my 23 years in business, I've started to create these really solid processes. So those processes, this is what happened in 2016 when I was teaching and also when I was mentoring designers. I realized that I've got something to share. So that's my qualification, I guess. My qualification is the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Because what would you say people come to gain from you in your experiences, Andrew?
Well, it started out with people just wanting to get more educated about the specific things that I do coach around. So I don't teach people how to design.
Sure.
Definitely go to school for that, or,
You've got it in you.
You've got it in you as a talent or a natural sort of thing. So the things that I teach about in my coaching are about process and about how to charge, about putting margins on product, about how to manage a budget, things that you guys talk about in this podcast. I like to coach designers because we're not taught that when we go to school.
No.
We're not taught that probably when you work for someone either. They tend to keep it to themselves. So I love to share that as much as possible, all of the things that I've learnt along the way. But probably the biggest thing that has been a surprise to me is that people come for the community as well.
Yeah.
So they connect with other designers. Last year we set up our social club, which is a free to our members. It's free, and they get together in all. I think there's 6 states that we're doing it at the moment, and people come together. There's no selling of any of my programs or anything like that. It's just a social event.
Yeah.
Maybe they learn a little bit about fabrics or about some supplier information. That was something that just really grew from the establishment of the design coach and understanding that people really want to connect with each other. They want to be part of a community.
Yeah, awesome.
Just sort of evolved.
Yeah.
As time went by.
Well, it just sort of, I realised that the more that I got people together, the more that they were connecting, and I think they get so much from sharing with each other. And when I set, and I'm not taking all of the praise for this, but it's something that just happened, but I set a sort of an environment where people felt free and safe and unjudged to share information, like share their challenges with each other, share the things that don't work, share the things that do work. And I think that's created this environment where people feel safe. And that really connects people as well.
Fantastic. So there are many coaching courses around.
Yep.
How do you think yours differs to others?
Yeah, there are, thankfully, more and more, especially in the interior design space. I think in Australia there's some, and overseas, there's some really good design coaches who are focused on specifically the industry. I think that when I first set up 5 years ago, there was very few people. There was no one really in the interior design space. So that is still, when I say there's many people, there's a handful of people who are interior designers coaching other interior designers and decorators. So that is a point of difference to other business coaches, I think, is that I know what's going on for designers and decorators. Like I'm doing it. I'm in there. Sort of, I know the experiences. So a lot of the coaching that I do is specific to the industry. There's a couple of things that set my business apart specifically from other interior design businesses. Firstly, I've got a bit of a wellness approach. Like I'm really passionate about people looking after their physical, mental, emotional health as well, because I don't believe that we can separate out the two. Can't separate out who we are as a person from our business. So if we're going to work on our business, we need to work on ourselves as well. We need to give as much care and attention to making sure we're nurturing our relationships, our physical health by doing exercise, eating well, also having some fun as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going out and having some wines as well.
Sure. You're saying it to the wrong people over here.
Okay.
Preaching to the converted. But also, the other thing is I like with my business I'm very passionate about being inclusive. I want everyone in the industry to feel like they've got a place at the design coach. I've specifically and intentionally set it up to not have a membership price, so you can come and join. Anyone can join. There's free downloadable business resources. We do monthly group coaching that's free to members. So even if people can't afford to sign up and do coaching or do one of my programs or retreats, they can definitely access some information that's really going to help them with their business. And it's partly because I want to be able to help people from all economic sort of situations, but also partly I'm not qualified. And there was a lot, well, maybe part of it was my own imposter syndrome, I think, when I was younger. But I think there's a lot of judgment in the industry about people who are qualified or not qualified, how much experience, who do you work for. I don't like all of that stuff. I like it to be, if you feel like you've got something to give to the industry, you've got somewhere to go to be part of a community as well.
Yeah. Fantastic. That's awesome. And tell us a little bit about your scholarship program and how does that work, Andrew?
That's something I'm incredibly proud of. 2 years ago, I set up a scholarship program. It's not a traditional hardship program. It's a scholarship based on talent, attitude and aptitude. So people who, they could be brand new to the industry or they could have been working in the industry for many, many years, It's all about taking somebody who's got the talent for what we do and then giving a bit of a leg up with the courses and programs that I do. So it includes all of my one-on-one coaching programs, my group coaching programs, and a trip to the retreat. And so
wow, that's awesome.
the last 2 years, we've had 2 incredibly worthy winners of the scholarship. Amelia Barry from Amelia Barry Interiors.
Yep.
Amelia's an absolute gun. And she is the epitome of what I want the scholarship to do. She was very talented. She knew what she was doing, but she took everything that I taught her on board, and she's just, tripled her business.
Oh, wow.
It's just amazing. She's going incredible places.
So did she join one of your courses and that's how you got to know her, or how did you find each other?
Amelia came to, back in the days of face-to-face programs, she came to one of my fees and margins courses, I think,
right,
with her 1-week-old newborn.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So he is now 5, I think. And she, just committed from that point. And she didn't do all of my programs, obviously had her hands full. She's now got 2 kids. And so the scholarship's by application.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Andrew, you mentioned you also have a lot of online courses. I know you've done face-to-face, and that was probably a COVID thing. But tell us a little bit more about your online courses.
As I mentioned before, they all started face-to-face in Melbourne. And then I started doing face-to-face in Sydney as well. So, but it was I think COVID was the gift of making me, because I haven't traditionally been that savvy with technology. I think COVID sort of forced everyone to have
absolutely
a little bit of a crash course in Zoom. So it took me a very short period of time to sort of upskill, and then all of my courses became online. So the gift of that was that I could reach more people. So I could reach people in, as I mentioned before, I've got people in New Zealand. I've also got people in Singapore. I've got people in all of the states around Australia who are doing things online, but people love face-to-face. Yeah. So in 2024, I'm going back to doing our masterclasses. So in the early stages of my business, I actually had so many different masterclasses face-to-face. So this is getting designers into their Design Heroes studio. So people like Mim Fanning from Mim Design, the guys at Flax Studio, Hector Guthrie, who else? I don't want to miss anyone. Beautiful Amanda Henderson. Yeah, we've just had Thomas Hamill, Dylan Farrell. So the last one was Andrew Parr from SJB, and that was early this year. And I was a little bit burnt out from COVID, having to cancel and reschedule face-to-face.
Yes.
So I sort of put a bit of a hold on it for the rest of this year, but now I'm ready to get back to face-to-face. So next year, or 2024, I've got a couple of really, I can't say yet because we haven't finally confirmed them, but really, really top interior designers hosting masterclasses. So that's a chance for face-to-face.
Where do you do it? Where are these face-to-face masterclasses?
Depends where they are. So we've done between Melbourne and Sydney. So Thomas Hamill and Dylan Farrell were up in Sydney. So I've got one Sydney designer who everyone will know. They're incredible. So I'm so excited to be talking to them.
Oh, are we booking tickets?
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be coming up very soon. I'm in the final sort of discussions and negotiation with, later in the year, a Melbourne, again, an outstanding Melbourne designer. And then the other thing that's face-to-face, obviously, is the retreats.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to speak a little bit about the retreats. But, yeah, that's an opportunity for people to get together, and we do have professional workshops within the retreats as well.
So many incredible courses. What is your favourite course?
Oh, I don't know. It's like choosing a favourite child, isn't it? It's like, I love things for different things, our offerings and our services for different reasons. I get a huge amount of pleasure, and I take a huge amount of pride in the fact that I get feedback from designers who do my bootcamp course that's all of the business foundations and go on to tell me that they've put forward presentations to their clients that they've never had the guts to do before. So charging more, not that they're charging sort of outrageous fees, but they're charging what they should be charging
Sure.
for the first time in their life, and
Wow.
it's transforming their life. So that for me is just huge. It's everything to me, because I'm helping designers to live better lives and run better businesses. But I can't, the international retreats are insane. They're so good. Caroline, we got to go to Milan together.
We did.
Yeah.
And that was an experience and a half.
Yeah.
It was the busiest week and a half of my life. Just never been so tired, even having children.
What, you mean you didn't stay up till 2 a.m. drinking?
No, I didn't.
Maybe once or twice.
Maybe once or twice. But honestly, it was just so awesome. And just, the people you gathered and what our experiences were and what you were able to show us and give us the next level of seeing suppliers and seeing shows and being able to go into the fair and, be VIPs. It's just next level awesome.
Well, it's those trips, the whole success of them is based on the people who come. So we just had a brilliant group for Milan.
Next level.
Yeah. And similarly, just got back recently from Queenstown in New Zealand, where we had the retreat, and we had a group of 16 designers, and they all just got along so well, and I just love it. I just love seeing that.
What did you do in Queenstown?
So the retreat's different to Milan. Milan's very much focused on the fair and everything that's happening around the fair. So it's an educational trip, I suppose.
I'd say that.
But the retreats, they've got a strong focus on working on personal development, professional development, and wellness as well. So we have incredible mix of activities like morning yoga, meditations throughout the course of the day. But then we're doing personal development workshops like we did, if you've ever heard of the Enneagram, it's a personality test. So it tells you there's 9 different personality types. So we had an expert on the Enneagram teaching everyone about their personality type and how it sort of influences the way that you are personally, but also in your business. And then we had Sam Eads from Mitchell and Eads, incredible, successful interior design business here in Australia. She came and spoke to everyone about leadership. So some sort of workshops around that. And then we do beautiful property tours. We had education around, it's called Wim Hof. Have you ever heard of Wim Hof? It's a cold water and breath work.
Yeah, I did see that actually on your Instagram.
A little bit nuts.
Nuts.
Is that in the lake?
We all got in the lake. Yeah, there was a whole group of us. It looked a little bit like some sort of crazy cult. With all these people in... Well, it felt like winter. There's snow on the mountains and the lake is 8 degrees. So that is, but the whole purpose of it is that it's actually really positive for your mental health and physical health. It's all about overcoming the barriers of what you see as the pain with the cold, and also does all of these amazing things for you physiologically. So we had a beautiful teacher, Laura, who taught us about the foundations of that, and then we all went and got in the lake afterwards.
And it takes you out of your comfort zone, doesn't it?
Oh, it's amazing. So the theme of the retreat this year was discover.
Okay.
So I wanted to teach them how to really discover inner depths of strength. And that does take it. So getting into the lake in 8 degrees is just...
I think it would.
Yeah. But also at the retreat, we don't want to just focus on serious things.
No.
We want to have fun as well. So there's amazing lunches, dinners.
Yeah.
Lots of cocktails, lots of glasses of wine.
Yeah.
So it's all about a beautiful balance as well.
That sounds really awesome. So tell us, what are you most proud of so far that you've done?
I think if I can look at it from 2 perspectives, like I've got things that I'm proud of with my interior design business. So looking at that first is I'm proud that I haven't given up. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Our business. We got to juggle so many different plates. We've got to do all sorts of different things with different types of personality types. We've got to manage people. We've got to manage teams. We've got to manage finances. We've got to do all these different things. And sometimes that gets to be a lot. And I'm proud that with all the mistakes that I've made through the many years of running my interior design business, I haven't given up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had, like I said before, a little bit of a pause, just to reassure me that I really do want to do this. But I just think continuing on and not giving up takes a lot of guts. And
absolutely.
Yeah. And I think you guys understand and appreciate that better than anyone. With the design coach, different things. Like I said, I get so proud to see people having huge breakthroughs with the way that they're running their business, getting joy from their business where it used to just give them stress. And also just moments like away with you, Caroline, on top of that building on the last night, having a beautiful dinner, dancing around the outside near the pool. And I just sort of stop and look at that and survey this beautiful group of people. And I'm proud of the fact that I've brought those people together.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. It certainly was a highlight that last night. But I will say also with you, you've been through so much and it certainly shows, and you've got a lot of empathy. So I feel like people feel so much more comfortable in taking the time or enjoying that moment, like you say, or just getting the experience.
Thank
and
you.
I feel that that's, what you display, and, you speak what's behind you and you speak of how you got to that particular space that you're in at the moment. And you're flying at the moment.
You keep it real.
You keep it real and you're doing so well, especially with, I know your interior design part of the business is absolutely next level, and it always has been.
Thank you.
It's so professional and amazing. But also your coaching programs, they're just next level. Like you've just taken off, and, just so happy for you and so proud of you.
Thank you. You're so kind to say that. And I just, as you know, both of you know, our community is a beautiful community. So I feel blessed to be a part of it. And I love just bringing people together.
Yeah.
So I do this thing always, near the end of our questions, preconceived ideas or statements, or mythbusters, sometimes I call them.
Yep.
So Caroline, would you like to give the first preconceived statement, and what are your thoughts on it?
Okay. Life is too short to be average.
Okay. Well, I'm going to sort of give you a reasonably weird answer to that, I think, is I don't mind being average. Personally, I don't feel like I'm the best at anything or everything. I think I do a really good job of what I do in interior design, but also in my coaching. But if you look out there, and I think we're so obsessed with looking at comparison. So social media puts all these images of perfection in front of us all the time. And I think it encourages unhealthy comparison and people really downplaying their own strengths. So I'm quite happy to be average if average
absolutely.
is the best that I can do. But I prefer to compare myself to myself rather than compare myself to everyone else out there. Is that weird?
No, not at all.
No.
And I see that as being better for your own wellness and mental health too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
because I personally spend, I think it's the love-hate relationship that everyone has with social media.
Yes.
I spend a small amount of time on social media because I find it does cause anxiety. That it's forcing comparison to you. So I find I seek my inspiration from other places.
Awesome.
Beautiful old school magazines and books.
Awesome.
It's wonderful.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And travel.
100%.
Yeah. And you do a lot of that.
I'm
You're
very
lucky devil.
blessed to do a lot of that.
Yeah.
Knowing what you know now, what would you tell your younger self?
Wow. Yeah, I would firstly say slow down.
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done. I tend to go like a bull at a gate on so many things. And I think that was the biggest mistake that I made in the early stages of setting up my business was that I didn't plan efficiently and effectively. I didn't look at what other people were doing. I just jumped in without giving it too much thought. And I think that, well, it takes a fair bit of bravery to do that, and I give myself credit for that. I think it sort of leaves you really exposed. So I would take it a little bit more slowly. I would do a bit more planning, and I would ask for help. I wasn't good at asking for help in the early stages.
Sure.
And now I've got a finance coach, I've got a marketing coach, I've got a general sort of business coach. So I get coaching myself because I'm all about asking for help.
Fantastic. And having a plan.
Yeah.
And might even be a marketing plan.
I've got so many plans. I'm a real
good
planner.
Yeah.
And you're never too old to learn.
No, never. No, I think the older you get, the more you know that you don't know.
Exactly.
So that's exciting.
So true.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That was incredible. I love listening to you.
Thank
I
you.
always just learn. I learn from you every time I speak to you. So thank you
That's
for
very
coming
kind.
today.
Thanks, Chrissy.
Yeah, no, you're just one of a kind and you're very talented. We all know that, but you've just got a calmness and makes people feel very comfortable with you.
Thanks, Caroline.
And they always enjoy your company. And I think that's how you bring your community together.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I love listening to the two of you. You're doing a great job. And I love the chemistry that you've got. It's so good.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to get in touch, email us on thedesignduet@gmail.com or DM us on our Instagram page, The Design Duet.